I was in the service from September 1968 to September 1972. That was right during the heaviest fighting of the Vietnam War. I had to fly out of San Francisco. We flew into the night, and it just seemed like we were on the plane forever. It was a very long ride. Being dark, it made it even a longer ride. You would look around and realize, these are Army guys, Navy, all different branches were on this plane going to Southeast Asia. People that I met in both Thailand and Vietnam, not the Americans I worked with, but the nationals there, the Thailand people and the Vietnamese people, for the most part, were nice people. You detest who you're fighting against, but the regular people, they're just trying to live their lives too. So I never really held anything against them. I made 6 different, what I call trips out into the fighting area. Once I got on the helicopter and we took off, for a while you just sort of sit in the helicopter and just try not to think about too much. But then as we would hear the pilots come back where they could talk to us and they would be telling us how close we were or when we would be going down, then you start getting a little more pumped up and scared. And it was always a scary time. Anytime anybody's in combat, there are times to be scared. As soon as we do hit the ground and then we're off running, looking for cover, that's the first thing we do. And at that point, we would just spread out, and you're always looking to protect your buddies that you're with, because that's the most important thing we're doing at that point. And the problem was, we very rarely ever saw any of them. I mean, sometimes we would know where to shoot at because we could see flashes coming from wherever they were at. So it's like we were trying to fight a war, and we hardly ever saw the bad guys. I never really had the intent of shooting that guy or that guy, but it was always like they're trying to kill us, so we have to try to kill them first. That's just how warfare is when you're in a combat situation. Even now, I still can remember the sound of the whirring sound of the helicopter blades. Just the image of when you look up and see a whole bunch of helicopters coming in. What we call TDY orders, temporary duty orders, came through, and I was reassigned to Ben Hoa Air Base in South Vietnam. Then I had to decide whether to tell anybody that where I was going or not. So my decision was not to tell them then, because I figured if nothing happens, if I go over there, I do my thing, and I go back to Thailand, everything's okay. If I was killed in action, then they're gonna know anyway. When I got home, I remember, and I got off the bus at the airport that night, and the buses brought us up from Louisville. My mom was the first person to greet me, and she just gave me a hug and just wouldn't let go. The more I thought about it, I decided I'm at least for now, I'm not going to say anything. The longer it went, the less I thought about it. Well, really, the less I wanted to think about it. It wasn't until my nephew, who was still in high school at Troy, signed up for the Army Reserve during the Iraq War. I was talking to him about what kind of training he had been taking, getting ready for that, and it brought back all kinds of, just like waves of memories I had of my time. So I started almost like reliving some of the things that I had gone through before, and so I finally had to talk to my wife and explain to her what had happened way back. I shared it with my children, and then with my family and my extended family, and that was a relief. Heroes are the ones that died, in whatever conflict it is, and didn't come home. The rest of us just did what we were trained to do and got through and came home.